hello again, and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And I have a question. Do you like heavy metal? Do you like real heavy metal, classic, traditional heavy metal? Because that's what I'm going to talk about today. Today I'm going to talk about Vices by Kickaxe. And man, oh man, do I ever love this album. This is the first time I've talked about Kickaxe. It's probably going to be the last time I talk about Kickaxe, at least on this episode, maybe not in my life. And I have a very long, not a very deep history, but a very long history with Kickaxe, which I'm going to get into. A couple of things before I do, two things really. This is a Canadian band, and I think this is the first, this is what, 171, 172, 170, 73 episodes, something like that. I'm not sure if I've talked about Canadian bands before. I know I talked about Sacrifice, the ones I condemn, and I Mother Earth, Scenery and Fish, which for me is the greatest Canadian album ever. But those might have been when this series was branded as I love this album. I'm not sure. But so this is possibly the first Canadian band that I've talked about in this series. There are 3 more to come. Leave a comment. Drop a comment, I think is what they really say. If you think you can predict the other 3 Canadian bands. Dallas, your guess doesn't count because you know at least what 2 of them are. I don't know. So Dallas, don't guess, but anybody else, guess. Can you guess what Canadian bands I'm going to be talking about in the upcoming weeks or months? There's 3 more. Please tell me if you think you know what they are. So that's one thing. What was the other thing? God, I have so much brewing in here. So much, it's whooshing around like a whirlpool. The reason that I'm doing this one today. This goes back to my history with Kickaxe. I first saw Kickaxe first, and I've only seen them one time live. That was August 17th, 1984. Today, as I'm recording this, is not August 17th, and I think today, when you're watching this, because I think this is going to be up on maybe August 15th, I think, close enough. I thought, why not do it for the 40th anniversary of me with my history with Kickaxe. Now I got this record, and here it is, and I will get into it. Yeah, that's heavy metal, man. This is 1980s heavy metal. That's what it is all about, as Mike Patton says. So I got this I got into Kickaxe in 1984. Let me go back a little bit. I went hiking in Tepoztlan. For me, it was last week, and I listened to this record the whole way on the not the actual record, but I listened to it digitally on my phone on the drive. Normally, when I go hiking, I go with Eric, and we either don't listen to music or we listen to the radio. But I went hiking by myself, so I listened to it in the car on the stereo, kind of loud, and I thought, man, this album is so good. I got this record from Discogs. I don't know. 4 months ago, 3, 4, 5 months ago, something like that. I've had it sitting here, as I do with many other records. I've got enough records to keep this series going for quite some time. And I thought, man, I really like this record. And then I started listening to it again yesterday or 2 days ago. Listened to it a couple times, listened to it twice more today. I thought I got to do it. And good timing, I guess, for the 40th anniversary of me listening to Kickaxe. So I got this record sometime in 1984, and my Kickaxe, going backwards a little bit, history, here's the ticket when I saw them. This is Friday, August 17th, 1984. As you can see, I don't think it's faded that badly. It's just, you can see this is with Scorpions. This was billed as the Heavy Metal Hurricane. This was Scorpions on the Love It First Sting tour, and it was with Quiet Riot in descending order. Scorpions, Quiet Riot, Helix. Anybody remember Helix? Give me an R. And Kickaxe was opening. So this was the second concert that I've ever been to. Some of you may know my first concert was Ozzy on the Bark at the Moon tour in April 25th, 1984 at Maple Leaf Gardens. That was with Rat. So the first band I ever saw was Rat, and then Ozzy, and then Kickaxe opened this show. So Kickaxe, this was pretty big. Kickaxe was part of the second concert that I ever saw, and really the third band that I ever saw. So that's pretty cool. Never saw them again. I remember, and I think it was in the video for On the Road to Rock too. I think the singer George Christen wore He was barefoot that night, and I think that was kind of what, it was kind of like his signature move, or his calling card was going shoeless. Phil Anselmo does that. Maybe Phil Anselmo was inspired by George Kristen of Kickaxe. But I saw this concert, and I had the album before, and I loved it. And I remember I went with my friend to this concert, my friend Jeff Baker. And, it was my second concert. And I remember saying to him, I want to get a Kickaxe shirt because I love the cover of Vices. As I said a couple minutes ago, this is classic heavy metal album cover stuff. Really cool. And so that's why I'm talking about Kickaxe today instead of months ago. This really is, in some ways, it's a perfect album. It's 10 songs. I guess it's in the 40-minute range. There's no, specifically long songs. There's no shorter songs. There's no filler. And again, my definition of filler is not songs that I don't like or you don't like. It's instrumentals or interludes, introductions, codas, tags, things like that, covers. This album is 10 songs, 10 original songs, and they're all rock songs. There's one balladish power ballad song, which I'll talk about when I get to the track by track. This is real, like I said, this is real heavy metal. Look at these guys. It's George Kristen, the singer. The guitarists are Raymond Arthur Harvey and Larry Gilstrom, his brother Brian Gilstrom on the drums, and Victor Langen on bass. Remember, Victor Langen had that awesome that axe, not like Gene Simmons axe bass, but like the double axe bass. That was very cool. And there they are, and you can see, except for Raymond Arthur Harvey, the tri-named Raymond Arthur Harvey, who's wearing kind of a jacket with big 80s shoulder pads. Especially Larry, these guys look like, they look like metalheads. And the name Kickaxe, which when I was 14, that was a pretty cool name. Looking back on it now, maybe not the best idea. Maybe that was what prevented them from being bigger than they were. And really, unfortunately, Kickaxe didn't go anywhere. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was the name, or maybe because they were Canadian, or the timing. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe people just didn't like them. They toured with Judas Priest. I think the show Scorpions, was maybe a one-off show. I don't think they did a whole tour with Scorpions on the Love at First Sting tour, but they did tour with Judas Priest. I can't remember if that was the Defenders of the Faith tour in '84 or later Turbo in '86. I think it was earlier in '84 that they opened for Judas Priest on the Defenders of the Faith tour. But I feel like they had, man, and these songs are awesome. Every song is great. Every single song, all 10 of these songs are amazing songs. They had the look. They had long hair. They looked like a metal band. They weren't pretty enough to be popular back then. They were a little bit more melodic than Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. But they seemed like a band that should have been bigger than they were. Maybe, like I said, combination of the name Kickaxe, maybe not the friendliest name. The fact that they were Canadian, I'm not sure. What else can I say about this album? This album, it was produced by a guy called Spencer Proffer, who also produced Metal Health, Quiet Riot the year before. And I always thought, I think even at the time when I was a really dumb 14-year-old, this album, and I don't know if it was like this, they call it retro bias, when something is true, so it affected your opinion on something. I don't know if it was knowing that Spencer Proffer produced this that made me think this, but I always thought, and I still think, this album sounds sonically pretty much identically to Metal Health. The guitar tones are the same. I think this has great drums, big drum sound. Frankie Banali had great drums also on Metal Health. The singers, George Kristen and Kevin Dubrow, whatever his name is, Kevin Dubrow. They don't sound alike, but I think sonically, not quite musically. I think Quiet Riot was a little bit more partyish than Kickaxe. Kickaxe was a little bit more real heavy metal. But anyway, Spencer Proffer, is that his name? Spencer Proffer, I think, right? Yeah, Spencer Proffer for Pasha. I think Pasha was his production company. But yeah, and there it is. This is man, I really love this album. I kind of forgot about it for years. But I really like it now. And I just remember I mentioned there was no filler, which could be good or bad, no covers or interludes or introductions. There was a cover on this on the cassette version. My friend that I mentioned that I went to this concert with, Scorpions, Quiet Riot, Helix, Kickaxe, August 17th, 1984. Jeff Baker had this, he was my best friend at the time, and he had this record on cassette. I hated cassettes. I never bought them. And he had that, and there was a cover of 30 Days in the Hole by Humble Pie, and I really don't know anything about Humble Pie, but I know that 30 Days in the Hole was a Humble Pie song. And I only heard that song, I don't know, a couple of times when I would listen to it at Jeff Baker's house. And then at some point in the internet era, I downloaded it. And I just remembered, I also have this on CD, Rock Candy. There's a label called Rock Candy, and they reissue a lot of these albums from this era. And they put this out on CD, I don't know when, but I had that. I have it over here, it's on CD too. You missed the CD. You missed me holding up the piece of plastic like this. So this is what it is now. The one little gripe that I have with this album, as I've said with many albums, nothing inside. Nothing. No lyrics, no picture. That's it. Very, very plain. You can always tell, because when there were a lot of credits on the back, this has got, produced by, engineered by, recorded and mixed at and by, management, artist development, additional engineering, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing inside. And I remember when I had this originally, it was that thin, opaque plastic. This is actually a step up from that plastic, and it was on Epic Records. I didn't have too many records on Epic Records. This is one of them. And I think Judas Priest, were they on Epic Records too? Maybe that was why they got the tour, why Kickaxe got the tour with Judas Priest. So I think I can go through this track by track now. I thought I saw something inside. No, that's it. And weird, this, as I said, I got this on Discogs. And it has on the back, and it said this in the listing on Discogs, so I don't care. Weird that there's some writing on there. Whoever owned this wrote some little notes. I don't even know what language that is. I can't remember where this came from, but it says, I'm not even going to try to attempt. And then some songs, Heavy Metal Shuffle, Vices, Dreaming About You, Alive and Kicking and Just Passing Through, for some reason are underlined in black. So whoever owned this had some reason to underline those songs, and I think that's it. And this was a very decent price, otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. I've never seen this at El Chopo, but when you see something like this at El Chopo, it's probably going to be 1,000 pesos, which is the stupidest thing in the world, to pay 1,000 pesos for a record, but that's what they charge a lot of these people at El Chopo. And this is in excellent condition. The sleeve is in, aside from the writing on the back, am I going on long enough? Aside from the writing on the back, this is in essentially in a little tiny, it's not falling apart, but it's a little bit scraped there at the top and the bottom. Other than that, it's in amazing condition. I'm really happy to have this again. So going through this track by track, the first song is Heavy Metal Shuffle. Oh man, imagine hearing Heavy Metal Shuffle when you're 14 years old. Anything that had the words heavy metal in the title. In 1984, when you were 14 years old, or probably 20 years old, or 10 years old, that was pretty cool. Rock and Roll Soldiers, Side by Side. How many times have they made this cry? And again, because there were no lyrics on here, I never fully, learned the lyrics as I would have if it had had the lyrics. But yeah, Rock and Roll Soldiers, Side by Side. How many times have I made this cry? Strange Glow, something like that, with their backs to the sky. Pounding Games, We All Die. The band at the stage, they were 10 feet tall. Somewhere out there, you can still hear their call. Heavy Metal Shuffle. Heavy Metal Shuffle. What a great song. Very anthemic. Why didn't more metalheads like Kickaxe, especially Heavy Metal Shuffle back then? Seems like this would have been a big hit in the metal community back then. Next is Vices, the title track. We all live in our vices. We're indulging tonight. It's just part of this crazy world. It's just part of this crazy world we like. This has a cool drum intro. Kind of a little bit of I was gonna say a strange song. It's just not strange. It's just maybe not typical. And it's possibly I don't know what a favorite song on this album is. Vices could be one of them. Heavy Metal Shuffle is maybe the nostalgic favorite, but I think I like Vices more. Next is Stay on Top. Now this is another one talking about heavy metal and how important it was to hear people verbalize or put heavy metal, the words heavy metal in the song titles. There's a line in Stay on Top. It's I think it's in the second verse. I'm knocking them dead. I'm a metalhead, yeah. Social misfit. No sin I won't commit. Gonna stay on top all night. I'm gonna live it up all night, every night. And this album had great backing vocals. I think all four of these guys, yeah. Victor, Raymond Arthur Harvey, Brian Gilstrom, and Larry Gilstrom are all credited with vocals as well as their instruments. And a lot of big, I guess the gang vocals that were so popular back then. But yeah, man, Stay on Top is a great song. And the next song, I remember this one, there was a weird kind of interlude between Stay on Top and Dreaming About You. Not weird, but a really nice kind of acoustic, what would you call it? Like a bridge that bridged Stay on Top and Dreaming About You together. Dreaming About You is an amazing, amazing, great power ballad. It's not like a wimpy, soft, ballad like Extreme More Than Words, although I love More Than Words. Beyond the words of beauty and desire. They rhyme desire and higher. Beyond the words of beauty and desire. Memory of you sets me on fire. Oh no, it's desire and fire. Maybe that's even worse. But I don't care because I love Dreaming About You. Some people don't like ballads. I love a lot of them. I don't like all of them, but some people just poo-poo ballads no matter what. I do not. I think Dreaming About You is a great, great song. Very, nice, kind of quiet verses. And then the last line, I wish you could make it real. Dreaming about you. And then it gets rough, as Paul Stanley says. Amazing song. Next is Man-Eater, an insatiable lust for flesh. A succubus. What does he say? Man-Eater, an insatiable lust for flesh. Man-Eater. A succubus something. I'm not sure. But, and it's not to be confused. It's not a cover of the Hall & Oates song Man-Eater. This is a Kick-Axe original called Man-Eater. The second side, the first song is On the Road to Rock. Now, I didn't hate the song, but oh my God, did I ever get sick of it. When this was out, being a Canadian, there's something called CanCon, which stands for Canadian Content. And I guess it's still around. And I'm going to talk about that more, I think, in a future episode, because it does kind of play into one of the other bands that I mentioned, whose album I'm going to talk about at some point. CanCon, or Canadian Content, was, and I understand the purpose of it, radio stations and video channels too, they were obligated to play whatever their percentage was, 20 or 30 or 40%, I don't think it was 40, whatever it was, of their airtime had to be dedicated to Canadian content. That included Canadian artists. I think songs that were written by Canadians, so even if it was, the Rolling Stones, if it was a song written by a Canadian, it still counted as Canadian content. There were some other criteria that would count as Canadian content. And I guess because of that, the video, I don't remember ever hearing On the Road to Rock ever on the radio, but oh my God, this video was on constantly from 84 to, I don't know, God, maybe through 87, 88. You couldn't get away from the video for this. And this is another one that I think, this was a very good video looking back on it now, despite how tired I got of it. This fits great with the video, the Twisted Sister videos for We're Not Gonna Take It and I Wanna Rock. It was funny. They had this, this was when some bands used to have these kind of mascots, obviously Iron Maiden with Eddie, Megadeth had Vic Rattlehead, Dangerous Toys had Bill Z Bub, the clown. Who else had mascots? But I guess this was maybe not their mascot for the band, but at least for this album. And this Vice's guy, which is at the time cool and later goofy, and now for me cool again. He made an appearance in the video. He was talking, and that was a very cool, funny video. A little bit in the vein, as I said, of I Wanna Rock and We're Not Gonna Take It. Maybe also a little bit of Round and Round by Rat. It was a great, great video, and I guess it was huge in Canada. I don't think it went anywhere in the States. If you're watching this and you're American, maybe Kirk Desmond knows this, and maybe Mike Pratt. What does Mike Pratt think about Kick-Axe? He should like them. Did On the Road to Rock get any video play on MTV? Because it sure did on Much Music and Toronto Rocks and what was that show that that dickhead Terry David Mulligan hosted? Dallas probably knows this. I hated Terry David Mulligan. He was so anti-metal. I didn't like him at all. But he hosted a show, a video show. I think it was the video for On the Road to Rock was probably on there too. I love the song, and it's cool. You know, sometimes having a break, a decades-long break, can make you appreciate something now. And On the Road to Rock, I appreciate that song now. I was so tired of it through the 80s, but that's a great, great song, On the Road to Rock. Love it. Next is Cause for Alarm. This is probably the, you know, I don't know if you need to make these superlatives for everything, but this is probably the heaviest, most aggressive, the most metal song on the album. Feel the whole world shake as my body breaks, as I listen to the sirens screaming. Lights are flashing red, wailing in my head, something, that's a cause for alarm. I love Cause for Alarm. I love all these songs, but in this case, I really love Cause for Alarm. Next is Alive and Kickin'. This one, is it this one? Yeah, it is this one. I swear, and again, you know, there's no lyrics, so I don't know for sure. And it wasn't really a lyric, more of an ad-lib. This starts with a drum intro, and then the music comes in, and George Christen says something like that. I've always, for all my life, thought he says, Johnny! I don't know who Johnny is, and maybe he's not singing Johnny, or saying Johnny, but it sounds like it. Da-da-no. Da-da-no. Alive and kickin'. Kick it! That's a great song. Two more. All the Right Moves is next. What's that? Here she comes. She's got all the right moves. Love that one too. And then the last one is just passing through. Just passing through. There's no need for me to sing that or anything for that matter. Yeah, really, really good. 10 songs, 10 great songs. Absolutely nothing wrong with this album. This should be, I think, a classic of the era. Kick-Axe never went anywhere after this. I never bought, and they did change their name after their next album. They had an album called Rock the World. I don't know if that was their second one. They had another one called Welcome to the Club. I think Rock the World was next after Vices, and then Welcome to the Club. And then at some point, maybe it was with Welcome to the Club, they changed their name to Spectre General. Maybe they realized that their name was, you know, kind of holding them back. But I never got, and I remember the song, the title track, Rock the World, Rock the World. But I never bought any Kick-Axe records after that. I don't know why. Because I did love this album, and I loved seeing them live in 1984. So there it is. Really, really, what a just an incredible album this is. And stay tuned if you like Canadian music, Canadian rock. There's at least 3 more coming up. But until I get to those, really, 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 everybody should go and listen to this one. This is called Vices, and it's by Kick-Axe.